This is Myri Lane on the Buying Space channel. This is a Torah. This is the Hebrew on one side. And here is the English translated directly from the Hebrew on this side. So we're going to go, the Torah is like manga. It's read right to left instead of left to right. Here we are in Genesis. This is a very old Torah that was given as a gift to a young man when at his bar mitzvah by a special aunt. So here we have Genesis 1:1. Okay, there's the 2. So there's where it starts, verse 2. So the English translation of verse 1 was, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth," is in verse 2. And the earth was without form and void. Okay, that's the starting of verse 2. So I don't know which of these words is God. But it says, "In the beginning, God created heaven and earth," in that line there. Perhaps, well, I don't know about the syntax either. And I've been listening to videos of people saying that God in this verse is plural. And it was written as Elohim, but the plural form of Elohim. And Elohim in the plural form would indicate gods, not just one God. We know that the God of Abraham that he took the covenant with was Yahweh. We know that when Moses went on a mountain and got the 10 Commandments from God, he got the 10 Commandments from Yahweh. But when he came back down the mountain, his people were worshiping a golden calf that represents another God. So we know in the early history of the Hebrews, of God's chosen people, there was a pantheon of gods. Moses, who wrote the Pentateuch, or the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, was raised Egyptian. He knew about the Egyptian pantheon. He would have known about Dagon. He would have known about Asherah. He would have known about Baal. Elijah in 1st or 2nd Kings has a battle between Yahweh and, I believe, Baal, another deity. There might be a couple of battles in there with other deities that are named. So since this belief of multiple deities was present, historically proven present, in pre-Canaanite society, why would we not believe that in the beginning God created heaven and earth? Why wouldn't we believe that there's a possibility that that's plural? We're only supposed to worship one God, Yahweh. But why would we discard the potential belief that Moses was speaking of multiple gods here? because Moses grew up believing in multiple gods. And when he came to believe and follow Yahweh, him and everyone else that was Israeli that has escaped from Egypt believed in multiple gods. Why would it say in the 10 Commandments, put no other gods before me, if there were no other gods? We have limited ourselves far too long as Christians. We have followed dogma that the churches have set up, and we need to open our eyes, open our minds, and think about this. This does not change that much. In a way, but in another way it changes everything. But it can change everything, but still the gospel of Jesus Christ is unchanged. If God the Father is Yahweh, Jesus Christ is Son, and we have the Holy Spirit, that is a belief in not monotheism, but polytheism in itself. So why could there not also be a wife or ex-wife of Yahweh named Asherah? They have found little statuettes of Asherah. It's been proven by archaeology. There's been temples of Baal that have been recently, within the last decade, destroyed. There are gates or entryways into cities dedicated to Baal being erected in recent history. So why would we as Christians close ourselves off to at least thinking of it as a concept that there are multiple gods? We have one true God, Yahweh. But who are the Elohim, plural, in Genesis 1:1? All the different versions of the Bible in modern day have changed this to singular God. In the beginning, God created. But in the original, does it indicate plural? Or do we have to go, I don't know Hebrew, do we have to go more ancient Hebrew than this to see it? I don't know if this has been modified. I'm not Jewish. I don't speak Hebrew. I've been reading from this Torah for a very long time. I started with Genesis 1:1, but at that time, I was not ready to say a word about this. I was aware of it, but this is Elohim, plural. Is what the original text said that I've heard. Not asking you to accept this as gospel, but I'm asking you to think about that, if that's possible, and if that changes anything about your faith. If I were to accept this 100%, it would not change my faith in any way, shape, or form. I would still believe the events of the Old Testament were set up for the coming of Christ, and he was foretold in it. And God, his Father, set those things up, and Yahweh is my deity to worship. But if there were other deities, that would not shake my faith in God or Yahweh, and it would not shake my faith in Jesus Christ either. and it doesn't have to shake yours just because we discover something new in the Bible that's been hidden to the general populace. So, keep the faith, but don't be closed-minded and just accept dogma for dogma. We don't want Christian robots. We want thinking, actualized Christians who are intelligent and flexible in their thought, or our church will not grow. We will stagnate, and this next generation will not accept us if we do not analyze and think about and show the truth. If we allow the Council of Nicaea's decisions from, I believe, 328 AD to rule us, we will be stuck in 328 AD or in those first council decisions. I'm not even of that denomination, okay? And even the people of that denomination, even Catholics, need to come around to not accepting just what the church says, but to look for themselves, study for themselves, and come to your own conclusions through thought, research, and yes, faith and prayer. Have a wonderful and blessed day, everyone.